the setup for the bench press, we're already warmed up with our joints and our muscles and ready to start loading more weight on the bar and progressing our bench press. One of the things I like to harp on is you treat every single warm-up set like it's a PR. You're gonna treat the empty bar like it's your lifetime PR. You're gonna approach it and set up, create the exact same tightness and routine across the board. The first thing you're gonna do when you find your bench, you're gonna lay down on the pad. You wanna line up with your eyeballs just below the bar. That's gonna give you the ideal place to take the bar out and not have to reach too far back for it and not have the rack interfere with your press. The next big key in the setup is developing your arch. This could be a giant topic in itself, but the arch is going to help you shorten the range of motion and strengthen your bench press. The way I like to coach the arch is you want to get as high up on your traps or your upper shoulders as possible, and you're going to arch from that point all the way down to the feet. You're not going to arch from your upper traps to your butt because that's going to create a shorter arch and put more stress on the back than if you did from the upper traps all the way to the feet. So the longer horizontal distance you can make that arch, the bigger it's going to be. Again, this is how we're going to arch from the traps to the feet instead of arching from the traps to the butt. The butt needs to remain in contact with the bench just for the rules, but your butt shouldn't be supported on the bench. You shouldn't have a lot of weight on your butt on the bench. Almost 90% or more of the weight needs to be on your upper traps or back and your feet. The butt is just grazing the bench. Once you get that nice big arch set up, you're gonna pack your shoulder blades. Make sure you watch that video in the movement principles. You're gonna pack your shoulder blades together and down. We're gonna do that to protect the shoulder joint and also shorten the range of motion. Once the shoulder blades are packed, you're gonna find your foot position. Generally, I find the wider the better, and I also prefer to be flat on my feet and not up on my toes. The wider foot position is gonna give you a broader base to be able to handle and support heavier weight, and being flat on your feet is gonna give you a larger surface area of support from your body to the ground. Once you're complete with all that setup, you're gonna go ahead and grip the bar. Rule of thumb here, you want your grip to be a little bit wider than shoulder width. That's going to depend on the individual, and make sure you check out the advanced video on more specifics on grip. But we're going to pretend we have our grip width set, everything is good, ready to go. Grip that bar as hard as possible and think about torquing it in like this. That's going to engage your lats and increase your bar control. Now the last thing we do before we're going to take the bar out is take our good deep breath. We don't need to worry about bracing like we do on the squat or deadlift, but you want to take a nice deep breath of air to fill your lungs and squeeze the bar out of the rack. Big key, you want to make sure that the bar stays stacked over your wrist and your elbow. So when that bar comes out, you need it to be directly stacked over your hand, your wrist, and your elbow. You don't want it to be cocked like this with the bar sitting back in your palm, and you also don't want your wrist to be cocked forward too far. So stacked from the bar, the wrist to the elbow. As you're squeezing and taking the bar out, you really need to learn how to use your entire body to bench press. What that means, you want to rely on your feet and your leg drive to give you a giant base of support. You don't want to be supported and relying on the support from your butt on the bench. Use your feet and your legs to push and drive and support your body, support your arch all the way up to your upper traps. I see two common mistakes when people are setting up for the bench press. The first is that they are getting set up too loose. Getting set up and performing a bench press should almost leave you fatigued in your entire body. Really, it is an entire body movement. So if you're not making the effort to get a good arch, to get good leg drive and create a full base of support, and you're just getting set up loose, that's not the way to go. So no loosey-goosey in the setup. Get the shoulder blades packed together and get yourself hammered into that bench. The second common mistake I see is people getting set up incorrectly. If you set up too far this way, you're going to run into the rack with the bar as you press. If you're set up too far this way, unless you're getting a great handout, someone to help you on the bench, then you're going to have very much difficulty taking the bar out because it's going to be too far towards your head. Another thing that I see when people take the bar out of the bench, they like to roll their shoulders. It doesn't do any good if you're getting your shoulders packed and retracted like this, which is a nice, safe, solid, secure place. And then when you go take the bar out, you roll the shoulders forward. Keep the shoulders retracted.